welcome back to another video, man. And today we have Jay-Z versus Nas. Who really won? You feel me? This is an hour and 15-minute long video. Hopefully well, I'm not gonna say hopefully, the screen recording will be here. I'm 99% sure that it will, because last time we did the documentary, it was a YouTube movie, so we shouldn't run into that problem now. I got enough storage, you feel me? So, like I said, it's an hour and 15 minutes long, so one part is gonna be like 40 minutes. We're gonna be 40 minutes into the video, and then the other part is gonna be 30 minutes. So, you know, let's jump straight into it. Let's see what they talking about on here. Hopefully they discuss the beef and not who just really won between the beef. I want to know how the beef originated and all that stuff. So hopefully I can learn things, because as we go into more Nas albums, because we're going to be reacting to a lot of Nas albums this year. We'll probably react to one Nas album a month, you know, to space it out so it can last the whole year. We've been doing a lot of Jay-Z too. So I just want to, before we do any more of their albums, I want to know the beef. I want to know the history of it. But y'all make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell to be notified every time I drop a video, man. Let's see what they talking about on here.
The Jay-Z beef start. How did it all start?
You want to really get at me, or you want to get at somebody on that level. If I was to get at somebody on that level, I got to make sure I come with the best, my best.
Nah, this song was tough, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Jay-Z got some bangers. Y'all Nas fans, don't lie, though. Don't lie. Like, just because they was beefing, they not beefing no more, I don't think. You feel me? And plus, somebody told me, a Jay-Z supporter told me that Nas signed to Jay-Z label. You feel me? But a Nas supporter told me that that's not true. He signed a record deal and Jay-Z was like the vice president of the record label. Feel me? So he wasn't really signed to him. But I mean, I guess Jay-Z had say so over certain things. So, you know. But yeah, y'all gotta admit, each people gotta admit, Jay-Z fans, y'all definitely gotta admit Nas like top 3. He's definitely top 3. I think he's better than Jay-Z. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I think he is. Blueprint was hard to beat. When I heard Stillmatic, oh my God, nah.
You guys don't want it with hope. Ask Nas, he don't want it with hope. No.
It's not happening. It is no takeover.
Put your soul in ether. Teach you the king, you know you.
Nah.
Across the belly. Lose. You lost the belly. For the minute.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Stillmatic album, I listened to that album. Listen, I just dropped part 2 like 2-3 days ago. Listen, I've been listening to that album non-stop. No, like, and Ether is the #1 song that I'm playing. Like, You're the Man. Y'all been telling me You're the Man is one of the best songs off the album. And I agree. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't know what I was thinking in the moment. But nah, like, come on now. Come on. Nas is hard to beat. They hard to beat, man. Who really won? Nas won. I haven't even heard Jay-Z response.
What up, guys? Your boy Quake, and I'm finally back with brand new episodes of Who Really Won. This is officially the start of season 2. There's nothing that's really going to change besides the fact that I've separated them into seasons. And of course, we're going to kick this off with one of the biggest beefs in hip-hop history ever. But before we get into that, be sure to, with a bang, this is an episode that has been requested so much ever since this series started, and rightfully so, because this is easily in the top 3 when it comes to battles that happened in hip-hop, because it featured...
All right, so the best rap battle, I said rap. The best rap battles is Biggie and Pac. That's #1 and 2. I mean, that's #1. Nas and Jay-Z gotta be either 2 or 3. And I say Easy and Ice Cube. And I don't even know nothing about their beef. I know they was in a group together, NWA, and then they split up. Why? I don't know. You feel me? But I heard Ice Cube have one of the best diss songs ever. So you feel me? I gotta say Ice Cube and Eazy-E. You feel me? So that's your top three. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know inside the comment section if I'm wrong.
Two of the biggest hip hop stars, and still to this day, two legendary artists. And of course, as you can tell by the video title, I'm talking about Jay-Z versus Nas. When this battle started in the early 2000s, the whole world in the hip hop community was paying attention to it. Who would make the right move? Who would have the better diss track? To compare it to today's time, it would be the equivalent to if Drake and Kendrick Lamar started beefing. It was basically them at their peak in that time, and this would be the equivalent to that if they did that. With this battle happening right after Tupac and Biggie had passed, the two biggest hip-hop stars, everyone was worried that this battle would escalate to something very violent, but thankfully that never happened, even though a lot of lines were crossed. This battle birthed arguably some of the best diss tracks ever, with Jay-Z's Takeover and Nas's Ether. A lot of people still to this day debate on which track is better, but the most...
Takeover or Ether? Takeover or Ether? I'm going Ether. That's Ether. See, I always get Takeover and the Rulers Back because they're both on Blueprint and they're track 1 and 2. The Rulers Back, that's my favorite song off Blueprint. Takeover is my second favorite song. And I listen to both of them songs a lot. I have to say Stillmatic. I said Stillmatic. The Nas supporters been getting on me for calling it Stillmatic. Stillmatic is that album, that whole album. I just have a weird obsession with that album right now. Feel me? But Ether, that I don't know. That has to be. And Stillmatic is, I feel like, it's better than the Blueprint. In my humble opinion. But I wouldn't say it's too far off. Jay-Z, no, but Jay-Z got Song Cry, Girls. Takeover, The Ruler's Back. He got, nah. And I think the Blueprint was longer. It had more songs on there. So it's quality and quantity. You feel me? Nas, I think that only had 14 songs on there. But these were some heavy hitting songs. Some deep songs, heavy hitting too. Like, I'm talking about like, what? Nah. But that's hard.
Interesting thing about this battle is the origins of it and how it started. There were 4 key factors in how this battle started. I'm going to explore every single one. If you haven't seen previous episodes, then this is how we break it down into 4 different points. The first one being how the battle actually started.
Okay,
the second being the major points in the battle. Then I get into my opinion and talk about who won the battle portion of the beef, which is the short-term portion of the beef in the midst of the battle, who won. Then I talk about who won the war portion of the beef after the battle was settled, who had the victory. So with that being said, grab a drink, grab some popcorn, sit back, relax, and let's get into this insane battle between Nas and Jay-Z. So if you were to ask Nas or Jay-Z, how did this battle actually start? What was the root of it? Both of them would say it's just rap competition. Neither of them would directly answer your question. Nas even mentioned so far to say that it was just subliminal disses back and forth, and then eventually it got to direct shots at each other.
The question on everybody's mind, how did this get started with you and Jay? What's the problem?
I think it's like, it's just hip hop. It's just,
Right.
people bump heads, you know what I mean? It's always like, rappers always talking like subliminal disses to each other. I think this one was a tension that was brewing in the streets of New York for a couple of years.
Right.
And, it just came to life.
No, it don't bother me. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I accept it. I accept the challenge. I think I can, I can hold my own. You know what I'm saying? As far as
Okay, it makes sense though that it's a competition thing because they're both from New York. Jay-Z from Brooklyn. Nas from Queens. Queens, Brooklyn. Aren't they the same place? Am I not I don't know nothing about New York, you feel me? I'm not from New York. I've never been to New York. So y'all let me know. But if they're not in this, if they're not the same, they sound like them two names sound like Brooklyn, Queens, Brooklyn, Yes, I think that is the same. Listen, if I'm not mistaken, y'all let me know. Y'all correct me. You felt me, but like two big artists coming from the same place, same state. Feel me? Biggie probably just passed around it. Well, Biggie, he did pass around this time. Like, he passed, like, late 90s, like, 97, 96. No, Pac, I think he passed 96. And Biggie passed 97, I think. Or late 96. I'm not sure. You feel me? I don't know the time frames, but this was after, you know, Biggie was the king of New York. So now it's like, who's next in line? Who's next in line? Jay-Z was under, you know, he was with Biggie, and Nas, he fought with Biggie. So it's just like, who's going to take that crown now? I feel it for sure.
Bad as far as challenging, as far as in challenges like rappers and you know, things like that. That's fine. I'm cool with that. You know, rap is a competitive sport. That's how we build. We build in the South Bronx. You know, people battling outside.
So, of course, as time goes on, the truth eventually comes out, and the artist doesn't have to directly answer the question because people do their research, people ask other people that are close to those artists, and then we get the actual information. But a lot of the information is usually scattered, and on this one, there are 4 major points on how this battle even started. They all added up and led up to the situation where Jay-Z decided to go directly at Nas, and then it became public that Nas and Jay-Z do not like each other. The first initial seed that was planted on Jay-Z and Nas' relationship going bad goes way back to 1990.
They was cool with each other. They was in the same building at one point, like in the same room. They was like cool like that. Hold up, nah, y'all ain't never told me this, neither Jay-Z fans or Nas fans, you feel me? Or let me call y'all supporters. Neither one of y'all even told me that. Like, what's going on? Y'all didn't tell me they was cool at one point.
And then it became public that Nas and Jay-Z do not like each other. The first initial seed that was planted on Jay-Z and Nas' relationship going bad goes way back to 1996 when Jay-Z was recording his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. Jay-Z released the first single off his album called Dead Presidents on February 20th, 1996. And this single was where the birth of the issues between Nas and Jay-Z apparently happened. On this single, the producer and Jay-Z decided to sample Nas's track The World Is Yours from his debut album Illmatic that dropped in 1994. Apparently when they sampled it, Jay-Z wanted Nas to re-record the chorus and make a newer version of it. When he got asked to do that, Nas declined and said he did not want to go to the studio to do that. And on top of that, Jay-Z asked Nas to be in the music video for the song, and Nas declined that as well. And this is where Jay-Z started having bad feelings towards Nas because he felt disrespected. The first subliminal shot between the two started from Nas. Nas released his second album. It was written on July 2nd, 1996, which is only a week after Jay-Z released his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. On the album it was written, there was a track called The Message. And on this...
All right, hold up. Who debut album was better? Reasonable Doubt or Illmatic? You feel me? I have to go back and re-listen to Illmatic. You feel me? I know Illmatic left a bigger impact on the rap, like the rap game as far as history and all that stuff. But me personally, I like... I'm gonna say Illmatic better. Cause it had a lot of good songs. Like when I looked at the documentary Time Is Illmatic, that helped me understand Illmatic even more. I want to go back and re-react to it later on down the line. You feel me? But we got all these other albums that I do want to do by him, and we got a whole bunch of Jay-Z albums I also want to do. You feel me? But Reasonable Doubt, I didn't know that was his debut. I thought Blueprint was his debut. But then he dropped It Was Written a week after Jay-Z's debut. Nah, that's insane. That's insane. It was written, that was my favorite album. It was written, Illmatic. That was my top 2 albums. But now it's Stillmatic. It was written, and Illmatic. You feel me? In my opinion. But I gotta go back and listen to Illmatic. Don't get it twisted. And in my top Jay-Z albums, I only did 2. I like Blueprint, and then I like Reasonable Doubt. But we about to do the Black album. Y'all told me that's one of his best albums. It's up there with Blueprint and Reasonable Doubt.
Track, Nas decided to take a couple subliminal shots at a few hip-hop artists, including Jay-Z. On the track, Nas says, "Lex with the TV sets the minimum." And this line was perceived to be shots at Jay-Z.
Threats, I'm sending them. Lex with TV sets the minimum.
But when Nas got interviewed about this line in 2016 by Complex, he simply said Jay-Z inspired that line. It wasn't a direct diss at Jay-Z, but people took it like that because he was dissing other artists on the same track. In the interview, Nas said, "I saw Jay-Z driving a Lexus with the TVs in them. I got rid of my Lexus at that point, and I was looking for the next best thing. It wasn't a shot at Jay, but it was just saying that's the minimum you gotta have. It's not a shot at him, but he inspired that line. It wasn't necessarily a shot at him, but because the song was a shot at everybody, he fell into that, but he definitely inspired that line." In this quote, Nas said the song was a shot at everybody. What does he mean when he says this? Well, this segues into the second part that escalated the battle between Nas versus Jay-Z. And what that was the fight for the title of the King of New York. And this is where the competition part came in when it comes to this battle. And in hip hop, simply wanting to be the best is something that basically birthed hip hop. MCs were constantly battling back and forth. So that's the nature of hip hop in itself. But then also egos came along. Because if you remember at this time, a lot of newer New York rappers were coming into the picture. Jay-Z just released his debut album. Nas in 1994 released his debut album, and Biggie in 1994 released his debut album. So those three were kind of going at it for the title of the King.
Nas is bold though. He's bold. Well, nah, because I think Nas dropped his album first. He dropped Illmatic first, and then y'all told me that Biggie dropped his like a couple months afterwards, and it overshadowed Nas's debut album. And Biggie was instantly crowned the King of New York because I guess he had the bigger name. Nas was still on the come up, but Biggie, what was his debut album? It wasn't Ready to Die. I think it was Life After Death. I think, or was it Ready to Die? I think it was Ready to Die because that had Juicy on it, and Juicy that came out I think in 1994 if I'm not mistaken. So you feel me? That. I don't know. That's a tough big three to compete with in New York. You feel me? That's a tough big three.
His debut album, Nas in 1994 released his debut album, and Biggie in 1994 released his debut album. So those three were kind of going at it for the title of the King of New York. But Biggie was the one that was winning that title by a long shot thanks to his commercial success. When Biggie dropped his debut album, Ready to Die, on September 13th, 1994, this was the same year that Nas dropped his debut album, Illmatic. But the difference between the two was that Biggie had an insane amount of commercial success thanks to the tracks Big Papa and Juicy. He was a household name by 1995, and the Source magazine in July crowned him the King of New York because on his debut album, he would say constantly, he is the King of New York. And of course, Nas felt like he had the better debut album, and he was upset that he didn't have as much commercials.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Nas probably did. No, Nas has some better beats. I'm not gonna lie to you. He has some better beats. But Biggie has some classics. I'm talking about like, and that's what they mean by commercial. Like he had the commercial, he had a higher commercial, whatever the freak he said, you feel me? But Biggie, his stuff was played throughout years. Like Biggie barely released music, and I think that's probably why they pushed so hard to get his music to be so played out well, not play it out in a bad way, but like play it out as in they get the most they can out of it with such little resource. You feel me? So it's just like he got classics because of that. But Nas, he just got overshadowed. He got overshadowed. But, you know, I feel like Nas supporters, they're going to be like, Nas had a better debut. And then Jay-Z supporters are obviously going to say Biggie had a better debut just because they're not rocking with Nas. So I just feel like, I don't know. Nas, he debuted Michael Jackson. He sampled a Michael Jackson song, bro. That's kind of hard to beat. That's kind of hard to beat, and he killed it. He killed it.
New York, because on his debut album, he would say constantly, he is the king of New York. And of course, Nas felt like he had the better debut album, and he was upset that he didn't have as much commercial success as Biggie did. So on the second album, on the track The Message, he decides to subliminally diss Biggie. In the track, he says there's one life, one love, so there can only be one king.
Hey, let me let y'all niggas know one thing. There's one life, one love, so there can only be one king.
And Nas later on went on to confirm that these bars were disses at Biggie, and Biggie ended up responding. They went back and forth, but then as we know, in March of 1997, Biggie ended up passing away. And when Biggie passed, Jay-Z felt like the throne was there for the taking and decided to release more tracks on his second album, basically saying that I'm the new king of New York, and Nas took offense to this. So this is the second thing that escalated their battle. Who was the king of New York?
Oh, that's why when Nas said on, I think he said on Ether, I think he said, let the late great veteran live, or something like that, because he said, how's that your homeboy? He said, how is that your home? He said, how is that your boy? How is that your homeboy? And you still say you the great. Give it up. He's probably saying, listen, if that's your homeboy and he's considered the GOAT while he was alive, why are you trying to take it since he's gone? Give it to me. Nah, that's what he was on, though.
In New York, and Nas took offense to this. So this is the second thing that escalated their battle. Who was the king of New York after Biggie passed?
Dang.
Nas and Jay-Z.
Biggie was black as free. God dang. Black and ugly as ever. However, I stayed coochie down to the socks. Nah, hold up. He wasn't lying. Black and ugly as ever. However, I stayed coochie down to the socks. God dang, his fingernail long as free. That pinky fingernail, my brother. God dang. Dang.
In New York, and Nas took offense to this. So this is the second thing that escalated their battle. Who was the king of New York after Biggie passed? Nas and Jay-Z went at it subliminally back and forth. Jay-Z released his second album, In My Lifetime, Volume 1, on November 4th, 1997, which is about 6-7 months after Biggie had passed. And on this album, he has a track called The City Is Mine. As you could tell by the title, it's clear that Jay-Z, after Biggie passed, feels like he's the king of New York now. He pays homage to Biggie in the track, but he also says, it's my crown for the taking now. I'm taking over this city.
I'm the focal point like Biggie and his crime on the Lodo.
Jay-Z on this album also made it clear that he knows that there was a debate between who's the best in New York, Biggie, Nas, or Jay-Z. On the track Where I'm From, he makes a reference to that.
I'm from with niggas, pull your card, and argue all day about who's the best MCs, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas.
About a year and a half later, Nas releases his third studio album, I Am, on April 6th, 1999. And on the album, he has a track called We Will Survive. And on this track, he pays homage to Tupac and Biggie. And he also decides to take subliminal shots at Jay-Z for claiming to be the king of New York after Biggie had passed.
It used to be fun, making records to see your response, but now competition is none. Now that you're gone and these niggas is wrong, using your name in vain, and they claim to be New York's king. It ain't about that.
Now let's talk about the third thing that escalated this beef into something more serious. And this is something that we had no clue about because it was behind the scenes. We found out about this when the beef became public between Nas and Jay-Z in 2001. The third thing that was brewing behind the scenes was that Jay-Z decided to sleep with Nas's girlfriend at that time, Carmen Bryan, whom he had a kid with. Carmen mentioned that she had met Jay-Z roughly around the time after he dropped Reasonable Doubt, which was in June 1996. So later in 1996, presumably in November, December of that year, she met Jay-Z at a party. They hit it off. The next day, apparently, Nas and Carmen got into an argument, and Carmen decided to hit up Jay-Z, and that's how they started becoming closer and closer. And according to Carmen, she ended up getting pregnant by Jay-Z, but she had a miscarriage, so she never had a kid by Jay-Z.
I met Jay-Z right after he dropped Reasonable Doubt.
Right.
Reasonable Doubt was out like a minute, because I remember like, oh, what's this? Who's this? Oh, I like this song. And then I met him through a friend at a party. And the next day, Nas and I got into like some big fight, and he pissed me off. And so I just thought, let me call Jay-Z. What's going on with him?
Jay-Z knew that you had a daughter with Nas.
Yes, he did. He was aware of that.
He was aware of that. Okay. So you guys are messing around. You and Nas are getting into problems.
Yes, he was aware of that. And then she hit the little smile, lean back in the seat. Nah, she's shiesty. She's shiesty, man. Nah. Nas had every right to snap. But I felt like he took his anger out on the wrong person, though, for sure. For sure. He probably took his anger out on the wrong person. But if Jay-Z was starting to brag about it, that's when you know you got to stand on business.
With Nas.
Yes, he did. He was aware of that.
He was aware of that. Okay. So you guys are messing around. You and Nas are getting into problems, are having problems with your relationship.
Yes.
At one point, you were pregnant by Jay?
Yes, I had a miscarriage.
How far along were you?
I believe I was definitely less than 3 months. It was the first trimester. It wasn't.
It was still early.
Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't planned. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to have this baby and, move forward with our... No.
Okay. When you told Jay that you were pregnant, what was his reaction?
I told him after the fact.
Oh, you told him after?
I told him after the fact.
Okay, so he didn't even know?
No, I told him after the fact.
This was something that was brewing behind the scenes over the years from 1996 till about 1999. And around 1999, she said that her and Jay-Z were closer together. She wasn't with Nas anymore. They were just taking care of the kid back and forth. This is where a lot of people speculate that the beef got serious because, you're dealing with kids here. You're dealing with people's emotions. So it can get very, very serious very, very quickly. So that's why it escalated to the point where it became public. Jay-Z even sent subliminal shots at Nas about his relationship with Nas's girlfriend at that time. On the track Is That Your Chick, which was Memphis Bleek's track, and it got released in September of 2000.
She keep begging me to hit it raw. So she got my kids and say it was yours. How foul is she? And you wiped her. Shit, I put the rubber on tighter.
And this segues into the
She keep begging me to hit it raw. So she got my kids and say it was yours. How foul is she? And you...
What? Nah. I know that hurt Nas. Hold up. What? That's a bold statement to say. And the fact that you really had a kid with her, but she lost it and you didn't even know at this point, it's insane.
At Your Chick, which was Memphis Bleek's track, and it got released in September of 2000.
She keep begging me to hit it raw. So she got my kids and say it was yours. How foul is she? And you wiped her. Shit, I put the rubber on tighter.
And this segues into the fourth reason this battle started, and that's all because of Jay-Z's artist, Memphis Bleek. Memphis Bleek believes he's the reason the beef initially started. Him and Nas were sending subliminal shots at each other on various tracks. However, Memphis Bleek was a huge fan of Nas.
I started that drama, so what you mean how I feel about it? I felt like I got my big homie in some shit. It's going down out here in these New York streets. You gotta hold it down.
Him being a fan of Nas is exactly what got him in trouble in the first place with Nas. When Nas released his third studio album, I Am, in April of 1999, he released a track on that album called Nas Is Like. Then in that same year, Memphis Bleek released his debut album in August, and his first single off his album is Memphis Bleek Is. And the song sounded similar to Nas's record, So Nas took offense to this because, as we all know, Jay-Z kept sampling Nas, and then Jay-Z would send subliminal shots. Nas did not like that. He felt the same from Memphis Bleek. Also, there is a track on Memphis Bleek's debut album called What You Think of That, featuring Jay-Z. And on this track, Jay-Z makes reference to having the crown in hip-hop.
I'm a ball till I fall, what you think of that? Round here front, like my shit don't sound like nothing. Like I ain't got the crown or something.
So Nas decides to subliminally respond to Jay-Z and Memphis Bleek with that track, What You Think of That. And just a couple months later, Nas releases his 4th studio album, Nostradamus. And on the title track, Nostradamus, which was released as the first single on October 20th.
What kind of album title is that? Y'all want me to pronounce Nostradamus? Y'all want me to pronounce that when I get to that? What the I can't even say it. I got a gap. I got a gap, so it's kind of hard to say things. You know me?
Like I ain't got the crown or something.
So Nas decides to subliminally respond to Jay-Z and Memphis Bleek with that track, What You Think of That. And just a couple months later, Nas releases his 4th studio album, Nostradamus. And on the title track, Nostradamus, which was released as the first single on October 26th, 1999, he makes reference to that What You Think of That hook, and then asks for beef on that same song.
You want a ball till you fall, I can help you with that. You want beef, I can let a slug melt in your hat.
Memphis Bleek then says he was on vacation, and a lot of people from his hood called him and referenced that Nostradamus track to him and told him that Nas was dissing him.
And they called me, I was in the Bahamas, and my homie hit me. He like, yo, Nas getting at you on this joint. So he played it for me over the phone. So niggas like, damn, Nas shitting on you. So then I wrote mine right. Like, all right, cool, getting at me, I'm gonna get at you.
So then Memphis Bleek decides to release his new single, My Mind Right, a couple months later on March 2000, and decides to take more subliminal shots at Nas. Even though he didn't mention Nas's name on the track, he did mention Nas's second album. It was written on the bars, so everyone knew he was talking about Nas.
Your lifestyle's written, so who you supposed to be? Play your position.
Then a couple months passed again, and in the summer of 2000, DJ Clue dropped a new mixtape called The Great Ones Part 2, and on this mixtape, there was a freestyle from Nas spitting over the Mobb Deep Eye for an Eye instrumental, and on this freestyle, he's taking more subliminal shots at Jay-Z.
Your flow is one-dimensional. Your level is second grade. You on top. What? Copy and fuck. I said it first. You repeat it. Your false crown covered in dirt. Defeated. Y'all niggas all hell. The king is dead. He running like a bitch with his tail between his legs. Still mad and still eye for eye. Wanna be God? You just the next rapper to die. Fucking with Nas.
Then a couple months pass once again, and in November of 21st, 2000, Nas and Ill Will Records dropped the QB's Finest compilation album. And on the album, there was a track called The Bridge 2001, and Nas decides to attack everybody on Rockefeller, not just Memphis Bleek. He references that it was written line that Memphis Bleek spit on My Mind Right, and decides to go at everybody.
Oh, you didn't wanna know whose life was written, the life I'm living, the ice, the women. Jaws is broke, your whole crew's coughing down. Your man, lieutenant, your boss get found.
And according to Memphis Bleek, after Jay-Z heard these bars on this track, this is when Jay-Z finally got involved in going at Nas, and it officially became Nas versus Jay-Z. Another rumor as to why Jay-Z got involved in going at Nas was that Jay-Z heard Nas in a Los Angeles radio station talking shit about him and Memphis Bleek and so on and so forth. However, I checked the internet and I never found a clip of Nas talking shit about Jay-Z back in 2000 and in Los Angeles radio station. So that was just a rumor. I believe this story more than I believe the other one. Then on January 12th, 2001, Funk Master Flex and Jay-Z linked up to do a long freestyle of the Rockefeller Takeover on Hot 97, where Jay-Z introduced all of his new artists he had signed at that time, from Memphis Bleek to Beanie Siegel to everyone else. And the reason why this freestyle was notable was because Jay-Z had asked Funkmaster Flex to just put on Queen's artists' beats. And even though Jay-Z did not spit in this freestyle, he was hyping up his artists that were spitting freestyles. And Nas, of course, took offense to this because Nas is from Queens, and the fact that they were ripping only Queens artists' beats, talking shit on the freestyles. And as we all know, Jay-Z's from Brooklyn. Some of his artists are from Philly, so it was looked at as disrespectful. This is when Mobb Deep even got involved because they looked at it as disrespectful as well because they're from Queens too. So it basically almost turned into a turf war, just like Biggie versus Tupac did. Nas spoke on this on an interview done in December 2001 with Funkmaster Flex. He talks about after they did those freestyles over those Queens artist beats, Jay-Z and Nas ran into each other at Steve Stout's party about a couple months after these freestyles. Nas ran up to Jay-Z, asked him, is there any issues between me and my camp versus you and your camp? Jay-Z said, no, nothing at all. And then Nas says is when Jay-Z went to Summer Jam and did that takeover thing.
I praised the God. I said, because he's a black brother, we all gods. Straight up. He is my brother. I praised him. I said, it's all fair in love and war. He pays me back and said, send a number. I paged back and said, you send a number. So he paged me back with a number to a studio. He wasn't there. Then he paged me with another number. I hit him and he said, yo, God, in no way was we up at Hot 97 disrespecting you. If we were, and I'm telling you this, I'm lying to you and I'm not a man. Jay knows he said this to me.
Okay.
I said, cool, bro. If you mean that much, then that means even if there was disrespect from any of his crew, he's taking the blame and said, Nas, my bad. So that was the end of it. We met at Stout Party again. I said, what up, dog? Yo, we had a good conversation. We smoking cigars and we chilling, my man. Everybody was there, the little girls from the hood, Shanita and everybody, my man, Lord, Bar Kim, everybody was there. We chilling. And I'm like, dog, you know the tension is brewing in New York City. And we can't do this because we don't know what the effects of it, that it would have, the after effects. And he said, no doubt, you're right. And we had a good conversation. He also knew the marketing of it. So I think it was inevitable for him to come at me at Summer Jam.
However, it took about 7 months for Jay-Z to say something publicly to Nas. And this is when he said it. As we all know, it was June 28th, 2001, Hot 97 Summer Jam. Jay-Z is the headliner, and well, he does something that is legendary. It's one of the most classic moments in hip-hop ever, and it's arguably one of the best moments in Summer Jam history. And on that day, not only was Jay-Z the headliner, but he decided to bring one of the biggest stars ever, and that is Michael Jackson. No hip-hop artist had done that at that time, and to bring Michael Jackson to a hip-hop event like Summer Jam was iconic. However, that wasn't the thing that people were focused.
The freak Michael Jackson doing messing with Jay-Z? The freak? Nah, Michael Jackson, still over there in Never Neverland. What's going on?
That is Michael Jackson. No hip-hop artist had done that at that time, and to bring Michael Jackson to a hip-hop event like Summer Jam was iconic. However, that wasn't the thing that people were focusing on after his event was finished at Summer Jam. It was the preview of the song The Takeover, which was a song responding to anybody that was talking shit about Jay-Z, and he was responding to any enemy he had. However, when he performed The Takeover at the Summer Jam stage, the song wasn't completed. Only the first two verses were done. In the first two verses, he was taking on any beef that anyone wanted with Jay-Z or Rockefeller. But in the second verse specifically, he decided to attack Prodigy of Mobb Deep and even put an old picture of Prodigy in a ballerina suit when he was a kid. However, after those two verses, towards the end of that second verse, he decides to call out Nas, and this is when officially the public knew Jay-Z and Nas.
Nah, that's why he said that in The Takeover. He said I got you. He said I seen you in a ballerina. He said I seen you as a ballerina. I saw the picture or something. He said something like that. I always wondered what he was talking about when he said that.
Verses towards the
I thought he was talking about Nas, but I'm like, Nas ain't coming like that. Come on now.
End of that second verse, he decides to call out Nas, and this is when officially the public knew Jay-Z and Nas had issues with each other. But like I said, this wasn't the finished product of the Takeover song. The third verse, which was directly going at Nas, was not written. Jay-Z was basically testing the waters to see if Nas would take the bait, and Nas did exactly that.
I don't care if you Mobb Deep. I hold triggers to cruise. You little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you. When I was
That's what I'm talking about.
No, you not on my level. Get your break sweet. I sold what your whole album sold in my
First week.
Don't stop. You guys don't want it with hope. That's Nas. He
don't want it with hope. Ask Nas.
It only took Nas about a month to come back with a new freestyle, responding to Jay-Z calling him out at the Summer Jam 2001 event. On August 1st, 2001, he decided to stop by Hot 97 and drop a freestyle for Funk Flex. And on this freestyle, he decided to go at everybody, including the people at Rockefeller, from Freeway to Beanie Siegel to Memphis Bleek. He decided to go at every single person and decided to name the freestyle H to the Omo, making fun of his song H to the Izzo.
Rip the freeway, shoot through Memphis with money bags. Stop in Philly, order cheesesteaks and eat things fast. And bring it back up top, remove the fake king of New York. You show off, I count off when you sample my voice. I rule you. Before you used to rap like the Fooshnickens. Nas designed the blueprint, who you kidding? Is he H to the Izzo, M to the Izzo? Push Izzo, you phony, the rapper version of Cisco.
And of course, Jay-Z heard this, and this is what fueled him to write the final two verses to his track, Takeover. And then when Jay-Z released his album, The Blueprint, on September 11th, 2001, we got the full...
He dropped that September 11th. He dropped that on 9/11 in 2001, the same day all that stuff happened in New York? What the freak? Nah, hold up, what?
To his track, Takeover. And then when Jay-Z released his album, The Blueprint, on September 11th, 2001, we got the full version of Takeover with those two new verses. And with those two new verses, he's going directly at Nas. And on the diss, he made it clear that even though he sampled Nas, Nas did not get paid from those samples. And on this track, he decided to threaten Nas that if he responded, he would reveal some information that nobody knew. And of course, now we know Jay-Z slept with Nas's ex.
Went from nasty Nas to Esco trash. Had a spark when you started, but now you just garbage. Fell from top 10 to not mention at all. I showed you your first tech on Toe and Lord Professor. Then I heard your album about your tech on the dresser.
Now, did you see the tech on tour? Yeah. Nah, he has something. I won't say he had it.
No, he said he had a tech.
Yeah.
On himself.
Yeah, no, he had it.
Oh yeah, I sampled your voice. You was using it wrong. You made it a hot line.
I made it a hot song.
And after this track dropped, everyone was siding with Jay-Z when it comes to this battle. Nobody thought Nas would come back with something better, because at this time, Nas was looked at someone that was declining. His music was apparently getting worse to a lot of people, and Jay-Z was rising and getting better and better. So a lot of people were counting Nas out. However, Nas was behind the scenes working on his new album, Stillmatic. A lot of people were expecting him to respond.
Nah, Blueprint and Stillmatic came out the same year. Oh my, 2001. No. 2001 had to be the hottest year, bro.
Takeover, and that's exactly what Nas did. Sometime in November of 2001, DJ K-Slay was chilling at his house. A couple people affiliated with Nas came to him and presented him the Ether diss track. He said he listened to the track, really loved it, went crazy, and that's when he put it on his mixtape, and that song started flooding the streets.
When niggas came to my house, I don't want to throw a nigga under the bus, because a lot of niggas switch up like Slade eventually. But they said, yo, I got this record, nigga killing Jay-Z. I'm like, man, I don't know about that. Like, this nigga seem untouchable. You know what I'm saying? And then he said, nah, Nas is getting them, this and that. I threw the first joint on, verse, and I'm like, okay, nigga said a little something. Second verse came on, I'm like, third verse, I'm on my phone like, yo, nigga.
He like, yo, listen, you need to hear this. Nah, he's going crazy though. He's like,
second verse came on, I'm like, third verse, I'm on my phone like, yo, nigga.
nah,
this joint right here might be it. Like I was ecstatic, like, yo, I ain't never heard a nigga really, you know what I'm saying,
like that.
take their time and Like, you could tell Nas didn't waste a bar on that joint.
Come out of my throne, I got this. Locked since 9-1, I am the truest. Name a rapper that I ain't influenced. Rockefeller died of AIDS, that was the end of his chapter. And that's the guy I chose to name your company after.
And Emilio Sparks actually talks about the time Jay-Z first heard Nas's Ether. Apparently, he was at a club. Some DJ played it the second he entered the club, which Jay-Z felt disrespected by.
When you first heard Ether, where was you?
At the club. It was ugly. It was ugly. We was in like Cheetah somewhere.
Oh, you was in the city. Oh, you was in the city. Yeah.
We was in New York, man. It was prime time. No lie, doggy diamond. It was prime time. They burnt it, so we look at home. We like, damn.
Oh, you was actually with Jay-Z?
Yeah, we was at the club chilling.
And they played it in the club while he was there?
And they played it.
Who was the DJ there? He didn't get his ass whooped?
I don't know either. I think soon we walked in, that was the whole purpose of the DJ playing.
Because the shit starts, fuck Jay-Z. So
no, it did.
Oh.
So that's why we was like pit bulls. It's like, hold up, get to the studio. This can't happen like this. It can't happen like this.
Everyone knows the version of Ether that came out on Nas's album Stillmatic that was produced by Ron Browse. Apparently, though, there was a different version of Ether, the original version that Nas intended to release, but it was way too violent and too vulgar. Even Columbia Records at that time didn't want Nas to put that on his album. The original version of Ether was originally produced by Swizz Beatz, and some of the lyrics of the song have leaked. Large Professor even mentioned that Nas spit some lyrics about Aaliyah's plane crash, dissing Dame Dash, because at the time Dame Dash really liked Aaliyah and was dating her, and they were really close.
Nas, what's wrong? Aaliyah though? What'd she do? I mean, she didn't do nothing, but Dame Dash, like, diss him, don't diss his girl. Aaliyah, though, she was bad.
And Nas spit some lyrics about Aaliyah's plane crash, dissing Dame Dash, because at the time Dame Dash really liked Aaliyah and was dating her, and they were really close.
No, I was there when Swizz did the original Ether.
When Swizz did the original Ether?
Swizz did the original Ether. That's the one he originally rhymed over. It was faster, and it was just a lot more noisier. Little variation.
If y'all want me to react to the original Ether, y'all let me know inside the comment section down below. We gonna get to it ASAP.
You know, I'm sure you heard of, you know what I'm saying, the Dame Dash plane crash and all that, the shit with the rhymes and shit.
No,
like, sorry, Aaliyah, I'm sorry it was you in the plane crash. It should have been Jay and Dame Dash.
Nas took those bars out because he felt it was too disrespectful. And looking back on it, it would have been something that would have probably gone too far. Who knows if that track would have been better than the one.
And the crazy thing is, it's a picture right here with him and Aaliyah. Like, what's going on? Like, nah, hold up. Nah.
Dame Dash.
Nas took those bars out because he felt it was too disrespectful. And looking back on it, it would have been something that would have probably gone too far. Who knows if that track would have been better than the one that came out right now. Steve Stout, who was close with Nas at that time, says that he heard the original version and felt that it was terrible and that he should redo it. And he even gave him the Ron Browse beat instead of the Swizz Beatz one.
He calls me in, the album is about to go to mastering, and I go to the studio, and he plays me Ether. It's like 2 a.m, and he uses that beat. Now, we weren't even speaking, so the fact that he even called me to the studio the night before mastering was because he wanted me to hear, like, did I go too far? Is this fucked up? And I get there at 2 a.m, and Jungle is on some fuck style, you know, fuck that, yo, stop, fuck you, da da da. And I'm listening to this shit, and I'm like, I take off Nike, we staying here all night. We gotta fix this. This is a mess. This is a mess. If this shit comes out, your career is over. And he made the record. But there was a different version of it with the same beat. That was terrible.
It is also rumored that Nas performed the original version of Ether 1 week before the actual version that we know now came out. It was rumored he performed it at a club in Rochester, New York. However, when he did an interview and Flex asked him about this, he said he never performed Ether at all. Nobody knew what he was talking about when he spit those lines about Aaliyah and Dame Dash. A lot of people were confused, and he says he wished he could have took that back. but there's rumors that said he officially performed the song. Nas denies it and said he only spit those Aaliyah and Dame Dash lines.
At the moment, when I had the show in Rochester, the fans haven't heard Ether yet. Okay. So they wanted me to say something. I didn't want to say Ether, they didn't know it. Okay. So I had just thought of something on the spot. And I was mad. I didn't really want to say that. I said, rest in peace, Aaliyah, I love you. Instead of you in that plane crash, it should have been. But, you know, that's me speaking out of... At the moment, and no disrespect, Aaliyah was a beautiful woman and a queen, so obviously I wasn't dissing her when I said, rest in peace, I love you, because I did love her when she was living, as well as now. So, I mean, I definitely take that back.
Now, if we had social media like in today's day, we probably would have got footage of that original version. There is rumors that the original version is still around, it's floating, and it might leak eventually, but there's only lyrics that leaked about the song, and there isn't the beat. There isn't any snippet of that song out on the internet anywhere. There is also a rumor that 50 Cent at that time in 2001 just got shut up and was close with Nas. He was even going to sign with Nas at one point, but ended up not doing it. Apparently 50 Cent was in the studio with Nas when Nas recorded the original version of Ether. I saw this rumor on revolttvs.com website where they talked about rumors of what happened in Nas's career that was legendary. And I came across this. I don't know how true this is, but Nas and 50 at the time were hanging out a lot. So there could be truth to this. I just thought it was an interesting rumor that kind of went around, and I didn't know about it till now. So I thought I'd mention it, and maybe some of you could link to something. Maybe 50 could talk about it in the future. Who knows? However, the original version of the lyrics that leaked out, Fat Joe was actually asked about the original version of Ether in 2001 before the song came out by an interview done on allhiphop.com. The interviewer asks Fat Joe, one thing that came up today, Nas apparently has a response to Jay-Z's The Takeover on his upcoming album, which implicates you and Big Pun and includes the lyrics, call yourself gangsta, but you were begging for pardon that night in Carbon. When Terror Squad flipped on your squadron, tried to front on their checks till Pun put a gun to your chest. Fat Joe responds saying, we gotta hear it, but damn, what a way to put me right in the middle of the beef, huh? We don't comment on that, that's old news. Like I said, all the negative energy, all that shit you can throw out the window. Nas is crazy. No question that we are allies with Nas Escobar. We love Nas. I also named my son after Nas. As far as him and Jay-Z with the beef, that's their stuff. Until somebody tries to involve me in that shit, that's it. I ain't got no problem with the whole Rockefeller. It's well documented. Everybody keeps trying to get me to talk about this shit in every interview. Why don't they ask Jay-Z this stuff? I read his interviews. Nobody asks him. If you interview him, ask him. Apparently, Fat Joe wasn't with it. He didn't want to get involved with this. And those bars that Nas spit on the original Ether apparently exposed that Terror Squad confronted Jay-Z about some money that they owed him. Big Pun put a gun to Jay-Z's chest, and Jay-Z folded and was scared. That's the apparent rumor from those bars. Fat Joe never confirmed it or denied it. Cuban Link, who was an artist on Terror Squad, was actually there when Fat Joe and Big Pun had that issue with Jay-Z. When he did an interview with This Is 50 back in 2011, he talked about the situation.
The Rockefeller shit, yeah, it was a little shit that popped off, you know what I'm saying? It was really some business negotiations that went sour. Jay-Z was supposed to perform for 15 G's or something like that. It was like, you know, some street niggas that we knew that hired him. So he welched on his shit like he didn't really go and perform. He just showed up.
And I heard that,
you know,
there was a meeting with, it was at Jay whatever, had a meeting with Fat Joe and Big Pun at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And they came strapped up, and then Jay had the little kids in the building just so niggas wouldn't air it out.
Wow, that was fun.
All I remember Jay-Z doing the Matrix in the room by the couch and Pun chasing him.
Wow!
Pun chased
And
Jay-Z.
Joe talking shit.
Wow.
So the pressure was definitely put on that.
Nas confirmed that there was 3 versions of Ether in the promo run that he was doing with Stillmatic. He said the first version was very soft. He wasn't really going crazy at Jay-Z or anybody. Then the second version was way too hard. Apparently Columbia Records didn't want that version coming out. And then the third version is the one that we hear now on the album.
I heard that when you first went in the studio to do Ether, it was totally not like what the finished product was.
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
It was I won't say timid, but it was not really as direct.
Oh yeah, no, we went through different stages of it. It was like I was trying to be light about it. I didn't really want to come hard like that, and then I changed it and it was too hard. So we had to cut it right and make it like just nice and classy.
Now that was your crew telling you, no, it's gotta be in the pocket.
Yeah, I had some people like dig into them more, and I had some people like, nah, you can't say those things. Don't say these other things that I had cut out the record.
Right.
And I like where it's at now.
Petey Crack, who was once signed to Rockefeller, says that when Ether came out, the whole Rockefeller staff was in shambles. Dame Dash was really upset because he got dissed on the track, and overall the energy was very different.
I felt as though that after the Ether, when the Ether hit, that it was the first time I seen Jay or just seen the crew up there looking vulnerable a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Looking kind of uneasy. You know what I mean? Because they look so confident and strong all of the time. It was just awkward to see Dame seem under pressure a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That was just weird. Like, he had a meeting with us one time. Like yo, man, y'all hear what the fuck? Y'all hear this shit? What's going on? Because, you know, Nas hit him with this. Dame Diddy, Dame Daddy, and Dame Dummy. Threw him all in there, so he's affected. And then he went in on Jay and all that, so...
Dame Dash barely even got this, and he over here under pressure like, man, y'all hear this, man? Y'all gotta do something. Like, nah, you barely got the heat. Come on now. He was really talking to Jay-Z directly.
Oh, no. Because, you know, Nas hit him with this. Dame Diddy, Dame Daddy, and Dame Dummy. Threw him all in there, so he's affected. And then he went in on Jay and all that. So Dame was like, yo, talking to us like in a huddle, like football, like, yo, you gotta get this nigga, y'all. Fuck that. He like sick of niggas like, yo, load up, run, go in on this nigga, fuck it.
Now, after Ether was premiered by DJ K Slay and was all over the streets in late November of 2001, a lot of people's memory is very foggy and tend to forget that Jay-Z actually responded to Ether with 3 tracks and not just with Super Ugly. Nas even highlights this in his interview that he did in December 19th, 2001.
After I put out Ether, Jay made 2 records, ladies and gentlemen. He made 2 records. One was so garbage that it played for one night and never played again, and nobody ever talked about it. He called us.
All right, man. We're gonna stop it right there. When I do part 2 to this, we're going to go back a little bit because that's another diss track y'all want me to get into. Super Ugly, I think. That's the diss track y'all was talking about. He and I saying he did two diss tracks, but the boy said 3. You feel me? But y'all want me to do Super Ugly, so y'all comment down below when y'all want me to do that. I got a little bit of free time because we still gotta do Me Against the World Part 3, and then after I drop this, Me Against the World is coming out. So you know, yeah, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell to be notified every time I drop a video, man. We're gonna say get this video to 25 likes, and I'll drop part 2 to this. You feel me? But yeah, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell to be notified every time I drop a video. See y'all in the next one, man.